Hello! Today's video is the fourth part of a six-part series featuring prompts to create a Halloween sampler roll using slow stitching. Everybody's roll will be unique, but here are some prompts to get you started and give you a basis for your piece. Prompt number 3 is going to be candy. And think about Halloween candy, either traditional, vintage, candy you love, even candy you don't. It'll be a cute way to add different textures and elements to your sampler roll. So the prompt is to make something sweet related to Halloween. So I made just some really brief sketches on what I consider a traditional Halloween treat. So I have the candy corn, just some festively wrapped candy, and a candy apple. This just gives me some ideas for what I want to add to my sampler roll. So I think I'm going to do these two, the candy corn and the wrapped candy. So once again, I'm going to just take a quick look at my piece and see where I want to add them based on the colors of my candy corn and candy. And these are just some scraps that I found that I can use to make like an applique for this candy corn and for the wrapped candy. So I'll just go through my piece quickly looking for a spot, and I think right over here I might do that green candy. And then I'll work on adding the candy corn somewhere else, maybe at the end here. I think the contrast is nice. So with the candy, I'll start with that one first. And I'll set my scraps aside. I know it's kind of a rounded oval shape. I have my Frixion pen again. And I can just kind of sketch out that shape, knowing I need it to fit on my piece here. So I think I'll turn it at an angle, just for a little more interest. And I'll have my piece of candy just like this, and I'll embroider those black stripes into it. And then I have my little pieces here, my little ruffles of candy. So the first thing I do after I am happy with the way that looks, and I can actually change that just a little bit, rounding that a little more, is I'll just cut out that candy. So I'll take my fabric scissors and cut it out. I'm just going beyond that little pen mark that I made. Now you could adhere this to your piece with a fusible webbing, but I'm just going to stitch it down. And you can make as many candies or sweets like cupcakes or cakes or anything of that nature. Even a Halloween drink would qualify. So I have my piece here, and now I just want to stitch it down. So again, I have embroidery thread, and this is just the black, because I want to make stripes. So again, take my Frixion pen and kind of create stripes here and there. And then maybe I'll just have a few stitches going out on the wrapper. I'm going to hold my piece down, and I'm going to start with the stripe. Come up and make just little stitches, and I think I'll just do back stitches. So I make a small little stitch, go ahead a little bit, and come down and bring it close to my stitch. And I really like these colors, particularly the greens and oranges with the dark fabric is just a very nice effect. Now once I have one row of stitching done for the stripe, I'll start that next row. And there is a little space left in between, and eventually I'll fill that in. But I like to cut out my shapes, kind of carve them out with my stitching first. Go ahead a little bit, and then I can come right back to where I want that stitch to be. Now the beauty of making these stitches so nice and neat is that I can leave them with their spacing, because that way it looks like a stripe. Caught in the button here. Or I could fill it in for more contrast. And I think I'm going to fill it in. I'll come right up in between, and I might have to make 2 rows. But I like the way that's coming along. I want to fill in that area where the fabric is showing. So I'll fill that in with stitches. And then while I'm here, I'm going to start right at this wrapper part and just create teeny little stitches to make those lines coming out from that wrapper. And again, I'll do a back stitch. I'll do one more line. And then I'll skip right here, work on the next stitch, and mirror what I did on this side of the candy. So now I have my 2 stripes on the side of the candy, the wrapper, as well as the main candy itself. I want to just make a small little stem stitch all the way around the perimeter of this candy. And that will just emphasize it. So I create a stitch, pull it through and leave a little loop, and then come up in between where I put the stitch in and where I pulled it through. And this creates a very nice curve. So now I've sewn the perimeter. I just want to go here and make little stitches, just showing the difference between the wrapper and the candy itself. Really, it takes just a couple on either side. It's not a very big piece. So there I have my little piece of candy. I'll tie off my knot, and then we'll work on the candy corn. So now I have my candy corn. Simple enough. I have my 3 colors. I put them in the order that I want them to be, with the yellow at the base. And now I just want to make sure that I have the right size. So I'll pull this one up a little further. And I want to put it right here. So again, I position the fabric, and then I just create my shape. And it should be indicative of a piece of candy corn. Can even round the base just a little bit. I'm going to hold my pieces together, try and maintain this. I could always put a pin if I wanted. I'm just going to cut that shape out. And I am currently overlapping each of the fabrics here. So as you can see on the back, the yellow, the orange, and the white all overlap. Just want to fine tune this shape just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to get rid of the point. And now I can decide how I want my candy corn to go. And I put it just like that. I'm going to put a tiny little pin in to hold it in place, mainly because I have 3 pieces of fabric and each one of them wants to move. And now I'm going to take just some pearl cotton thread here, and this is an orange color. I just thought that would be nice. And I'm going to stitch around the border. I'll start here on the edge, right in the orange part. I'm going to make little stitches around the border. Now it's a little bit of a rustic look, so if the white, orange, and yellow pieces don't line up perfectly, that's okay. As long as it's reminiscent of that candy corn. And I think it is, so I think we're in good shape. Continue making my little stitches all the way around. Really emphasizing the shape of this candy corn. And I'm not worried about that Frixion pen because I'll just take an iron to it to remove that marker. Now that I have most of my candy corn sewn down, I'll remove that pin and just continue sewing all the way around. I'm also going to sew just a line over each piece of fabric here. Small little group of stitches. And that's completely optional. I just like the way that looks. It looks very hand sewn. I think in this project, the more stitches that show, the better it looks. So I'll knot that off. Then I'll take my iron and just press it over there to remove any of that marker. So very quickly I'll try and show the entire roll with our 3 prompts. We have 2 more prompts to go. If you're working on one of these, snap a photo of your progress or maybe even your favorite prompt that you've worked on and use the hashtag Halloween Sampler Roll, and I'll take a look at your work. Thanks for joining me. 2 prompts to go.